What if the greatest danger of Dajjal is not his power, but our readiness? What if he won't conquer lands with armies, but hearts with ideas we already accept? Because when deception feels familiar, it doesn't arrive as an enemy. It arrives as truth. And that raises a question we rarely ask ourselves. If Dajjal appeared today, would he need force at all? Or would most minds already be prepared to follow? Welcome to Soul of Deen, a space for reflection, clarity, and quiet truths that shape the heart. If you find value in these reflections, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who thinks deeply about faith and the world around us. Because understanding this once can change how you see every test that comes after. Now let's begin by understanding where the real battle has always been. The real struggle has never been about strength. Human history shows us that control is most effective when people believe they chose it themselves. Dajjal will not need armies because minds that feel certain stop questioning. Psychologically, people follow what confirms their comfort, not what challenges their ego. And that's exactly where deception becomes powerful, when it feels reasonable. This creates a paradox many don't notice. We imagine Dajjal as a dramatic figure of chaos, yet the prophet described a time when truth itself would feel strange. He warned that people would follow Dajjal not because they are forced, but because they are convinced. This aligns with how the mind works. Familiarity breeds trust, even if it's false. Allah already explained this weakness in us. He tells us in the Qur'an that most people do not use reason, even when signs are clear. The danger is not ignorance, it's selective attention. We see what benefits us and ignore what threatens our comfort. And comfort slowly replaces conviction. This is why Dajjal's deception is described as a fitna, not an invasion. A fitna confuses priorities. It blurs truth and falsehood until obedience feels outdated and submission feels unnecessary. The mind begins to say, "This makes sense," even when the heart feels uneasy. And once the heart is silenced, control becomes effortless. Allah reminds us that Shaitan has no authority over his sincere servants. This tells us something critical. Deception only works where inner discipline is weak. Dajjal will not overpower faith. He will exploit neglect. Neglect of reflection. Neglect of humility. Neglect of remembrance. The prophet warned us that Dajjal would bring what appears to be paradise and hell. But perception will be reversed. Why? Because when values collapse, appearance becomes truth. Psychology teaches us that repeated exposure rewires belief. What you normalize today becomes your standard tomorrow. This is why preparation matters more than fear. The Quran does not ask us to panic. It asks us to be aware. Allah says He will test people to distinguish those who are truthful from those who only claim belief. Dajjal is not the test itself. He reveals who is already unprepared. Here is the resolution we often miss. Dajjal's power depends on disconnection from Allah, from purpose, from humility. When remembrance is alive, deception has no place to settle. When the heart bows regularly, arrogance finds no ground to grow. This is why the prophet taught us specific du'as for protection, not strategies of resistance. Faith is not built in moments of crisis. It is built in daily choices that feel small. Lowering the gaze. Speaking truth when it costs comfort. Remembering Allah when no one is watching. These are the defenses Dajjal cannot bypass. If this reflection felt personal, that's because it is. The signs are not meant to scare us. They're meant to wake us gently before distraction becomes destiny. So take a moment and ask yourself in the comments, what do you think makes people most vulnerable to deception today? Your answer might help someone else strengthen their awareness too. And remember, if today's video stayed with you even after it ended, the next one will take this understanding even deeper. Don't miss it.